roll your shoulders back and down. And then follow that gentle rolling action, right, through both shoulders, awakening. Breathing. And maybe you start to move through your neck softly, right? Don't force it. A gentle roll. And then we roll back the other direction. Right, noticing, are there any, that cobwebby feeling that you're cleaning out those cobwebs? Notice that I've started to roll through the trunk of the body. Moving smoothly and breathing deeply, right? Let's seek out those qualities from our practice this evening. Let's change direction. Let the breath fill you completely, and that's such an important part of our yoga practice. And we come back to center. I'm going to turn sideways so you get a better view here of what's happening. Think of diving forward with a little bit of cat arc, rising up, reaching up, and then a little backstroke to finish. Let me guide you through that again, right? Diving into stretch, reaching up, little backstroke, expanding, finish. One more time. Dive in, rise up, backstroke. Beautiful. Now using the backstroke action, placing your hands on the ground behind you, bursting the heart upward and leaning your head back gently. Right? Let's not strain to lean our head back. There's a gentle lengthening of the neck and throat space. Breathing deeply. If you could visualize as if there was the arc of the rainbow behind your heart. And sitting up tall and centered in our easy seated pose. Just already noticing the good changes. Tall, let's take a twist to the right. Seated twist. Feel free, shoulders down, sitting tall. And you can look back over your right shoulder. But as you do that, don't crane the neck to do so. Be aware of your spinal alignment. And let's shift our twist to the left. Breathe in deep. And another twist to the right. And twist to the left. Each time we take a new pose, may we really apply our deep breathing to the time we spend in that pose, yeah? All right, facing forward again, imagine if there was a windshield wiper behind you and your spine was one of those wipers, your back body's wiping the windshield. And I let right hand ground as I reach left hand up and over. And slowly, right, really thoughtfully, we change sides. Noticing the gorgeous stretch happening along the top side body, right? Let's do one more round, right and left. And now, centered again in our seat, let's expand our legs, right? A straddle action. Notice when you first take yourself to this position, it may not feel great at first. So please take a few maneuvers, right? To make sure that your straddle seat feels good, right? A stretch for your hamstrings and thighs. You can align your spine. And I do a lot of support with my hands. My hands are the best yoga prop. Fingertips really ignite this sense of connection into your shoulders and core, right? Connecting your body, communicating. And I subtly sway just a little bit to get any of the stickiness out of the hips and ribs and shoulders. And slowly guiding your spine towards each leg, right? As if taking a bow as you work between legs, right? Take a bow over each leg. And when we take that bow, overextended leg, it feels good, right? We're coming to a point where we engage our stretch reflex. Not strain, my friends, not strain. If you do feel that, dial it back to the place that felt good again, okay? That's important. That's yoga. And one more time over our left leg. And now we sit up facing forward. Please bring your feet together, right? Legs are making butterfly, right? Butterfly action. Angled legs, the feet together creates bound angle. And we're seated. And notice I'm not trying to pull myself anywhere. Sitting tall, flexing forward from my hip hinge. And no, you don't even have to flex forward if you don't want to, right? You could sit up nice and tall. This could be your point of terrific engagement of the pose. It's important to listen to your body. And when we're listening, you can really gauge the invitations that the body is sending, right? That feedback that your own body is giving to you continuously throughout your practice. And now we sit up tall again. Tall centered spine is always a great reference. Legs extend forward, hands back on the mat behind us, and we puff the heart up again and lean back, right? Expanding our chest. Fulfilling each phase of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. All right, notice, look, no hands anymore. Sitting up nice and tall, and let's change position. We're gonna come into downward facing dog. So front paws, right? And notice we're using big jazz hands to become our front paws. Sealing hands to the mat, Turn 10 toes under and raise your tail. Settle in for 3 deep breaths in your downward dog, please. Knees touch down to the ground and we take child's pose. Centering forehead, resting that centered forehead space on your mat. As arms extend forward, arms could bend and be halfway extending, or arms can reach back along the sides of the legs. The beautiful part about yoga is you get to choose to try new things and choose a variation that really meets your needs. And we come up to that table-topping position. We meet there on all fours. Exhale into our cat pose. So if I turn sideways, you get a better view. Exhaling into cat, arcing again. Inhaling into cow. Exhaling. Inhaling. One more round. And from cow pose, you look forward to take downward facing dog. Please take 3 more deep breaths while you're doing your downward facing dog. May you feel steady with ease in your pose. And if it feels really tight in your legs, bend your knees. Take some of the tension out of the legs. They don't need to feel so hot. Put the power through your arms, your paws, arms, and spine. Let's come on back to child's pose, balasana, grounding and breathing. Lift your head and, I like to say, slither or unfurl out onto your belly and elbows. Balancing as you press both elbows and forearms down into the ground. We lift our heart and face upward and feel the stretch developing across the shoulders, broadening, across your chest, expanding. And those actions allow your breath to fill in so much more space. And now, again, this, you do not have to clasp your hands behind you. You could keep your hands the width of a big beach ball, right? Pretend you were actually holding one of those behind you. If the clasp is too much, honor your body, please. Hands reach back to clasp or beach ball, fakey grasp, right? Lengthening and lifting, a little shalabhasana, the locust pose. Noticing where your tension is. Maybe you give a little squeeze between the shoulder blades, like you're gonna crack a walnut in that space. One more deep breath in your locust pose. And release. And we put hands on ground to gently push up and back to take child's pose. Aligning, breathing, and centering. Those are the key actions of your child's pose. Now, downward dog. Let's come there again, yeah? Feel free to give your dog's tail just a little bit of movement, right? By shifting through the legs. One heel presses to the ground for a bit of a stretch. And then you release and change. And now your feet stop the shifting. We look forward to the front of our mat, and our feet are going to walk up to the outer sides of the pinkies. And my bottom drops, hands together, Malasana squat. Now I realize this could be just too intense for some. That's all right. We're going to pretend we put the little jack underneath us. Whoop, 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 right? Come up a little higher. Place your shin bones across, your shin bones are here. Place your lower arm bones across your thigh bones. So you get a little rest, like football player stance, right? We're coming into that circle time. We're making the next plan for the play. Choose, right? Plan your Malasana. Is it going to be low? Or is it going to look a little higher? What's more functionally sound in your body? And now let's all, if you've never done this before, hey, let's all try the football player thing. Yeah? Lower arm bones across thigh bones. Now I realize that my head is going to pop out of the shot when I stand up, so we're gonna turn, right? Actually, I won't turn because you'll see it better. I just needed a little more space. Notice I widened my footprint. When I stood up, my feet went wider. Toes are turned outish. And notice that that produces some movement. We're shifting, we're side lunging. Notice I'm using the arm bone to thigh bone thing again. Straightening, extended leg. Right leg extending as we lean into the left. Left leg extending as we lean into the right. We're creating Skandasana flow. And it could develop into, notice, I lifted the foot, I deepen the side lunge significantly, honor your body. In the fitness world, right, in the gym world, we call this the Cossack squat. One more round, one more to the right, one more to the left. And now I'm going to put my hands on the ground and bring myself back to my seat. Sitting comfortably cross-legged. We can really feel our hearts and our blood pumping now, can't we? That's a beautiful feeling. So I hate to close my eyes in front of you, but I want to be a good model of what's happening. So close your eyes. Center in your seat and breathe deep, right? Let the breath fill you up completely. Exhale out thoroughly. And because we're not statues, there can be that subtle energetic movement, right? Just a little bit of movement so that we're never feeling stagnant while we're in these beautiful poses. All right, opening eyes. Let's come around again. Let's take a seated twist to the right. And shifting our twist to the left. To the right. One more round. And to the left. Facing forward. Butterfly legs, right feet together. Seated Baddha Konasana. Tall, centered tall, or finding your degree of forward flexion within the pose, right? Of forward bending. Let's be here in our bound angle for 3 more deep breaths. And 1 more. Noticing how, as you know, go ahead and sit up. Notice how when you exhale, there's that melting, that releasing of tension. I really invite you to continue to go with that, my friends. So now let's expand our legs, right? Straddling legs out. Sitting up nice and tall again. Feeling that mobility, that shiftability. And when we shift side to side, notice the stretches and the lengthening that happens. Now let's, right, we're coaxing out the stretch. Let's find it. Over the right leg, we bend and bow. Let's rise through center, bend and bow over our left leg. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot the most important part. We bend, we bow, and we breathe. Rise, please, to center. Legs come back in, extended, seated. I'm going sideways because again, you're gonna see this a lot better. We did straight arms, chest expansion. That was unpacking the actions of chest expansion, lengthening the body from toes all the way up to the throat. Coming down onto our elbows. Notice if you had a heart cave in here. Let's burst the heart upward, expanding the chest and continuing to lean the head back without force into fish pose. Matsyasana. 2 more deep breaths, friends. And let's sit up nice and tall. Bring your right leg into angle and left leg stays extended forward. Head to knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. All right, let's rise. Change sides. So your left leg is the angle, your right leg extended forward. And we fold. Please find your point of steadiness and ease. Slowly raise your heart and your face up again to seated. Let's change legs. Let's do Janu Shirshasana again. Left leg forward, right leg comes in. Adjust your seat so the base is steady and we fold forward from our hip hinge. Or shall I say, take in a bow. Again, heart and face lift. We're sitting to change legs. Left leg angle, right leg extended, taking the bow forward. Janu Shirshasana. Heart and face rising again. We're in our seated position. Both legs extending forward again. Arms back to fish pose, right? Let's go fishing. Lay out the long line of your body, right? Cast that long line from toes to throat. Check in that your heart isn't caving in. It's buoyant, right? Upward, opening. And you are breathing. Fish pose is about respiratory health, right? Breathe, fill, belly, ribs, and chest completely. One more deep breath, friends. And then you rise slowly, right? Let's pick ourselves back up to seated. We could reach forward for both toes, our seated forward folding position. Paschimottanasana. All right, if we were holding our toes, please let go, release the pose. And now we're gonna shift positions again. I'm gonna take a little spin to hands and knees. Let's cat-cow flow, right? Exhale, draws out your cat. Inhale, brings out the cow position. Let's do that a couple more times. Exhaling. Inhaling. There's such good stretches to be found throughout this slow flow in and of itself. Cat, cat. Now let's add in downward dog. Please take 2 more deep breaths in downward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Knees to ground, child's pose again, Balasana. And please come out onto your belly and your elbows again to our Sphinx pose. Lengthening and lifting our heart and our face. Expanding across the chest and shoulders. Settling in. Sphinx pose really is a wonderful place to check in with the structure of your body, right? The very framework that supports us. To let your hips rest evenly heavy, your thighs, your feet, and arms. While again, your rib cage, your heart, your face are rising. Now, again, you don't have to clasp. You can use that imaginary beach ball kind of grasp. Locust pose. Shalabhasana. Feel free to add a little flutter in your legs, a little flutter kick to your Shalabhasana if that feels good for you. And release. Child's pose, let's hands to ground, push up and back. Allowing your body to relax and take, let's go for 5 deep breaths here, friends. And if you just lift your head up, right, from your child's pose, you're in a great position to just smoothly slide into your thread the needle pose. So your right arm under the left, balancing on the outer right shoulder and right side of the temple. And we shift sides, right? Now your left arm under the right, balancing on the outer left shoulder and left temple. Rise. Let's visit this one again. Right? To the right shoulder we rest. Centered right? Our body is lengthening along the mat and balancing along and across it. And we change sides last time. Breathe deep. And slowly we come up out of the pose. I'm taking a seat again on my mat. Comfortably crossed leg and tall. Let's check in with our breath. Hopefully the breaths are feeling a whole lot deeper, a whole lot smoother. And I sincerely hope your body's feeling better than when we first got on the mat together. So now we're gonna come to lying down. Butterfly pose, right? Feet together, resting legs on the ground, resting arms, reclining, Supta Baddha Konasana. And as you apply a gentle pressure through your soles of feet, that togetherness, it generates a very gentle stretch across our inner groins and thighs. Allow your shoulders and arm backs to really rest, be supported by the ground. And breathe, right? Truly filling the phase of inhale. Sip it to the top. And empty out, right? Drain out, purge out the exhale. Do that a few more times. May it feel wonderful. And now we'll bring our thighs together, raise our heels up from the ground, hugging our legs towards our chest. Right, and the legs may start close together. Let's widen them towards the sides of the rib cage, footprints to sky. And you could grip your shin bones, your ankles, your outer foot edges, or your big toes, right? Any of those are acceptable. What feels better, that's what's right for you. Happy baby pose. This is called Ananda Balasana. Notice if your tailbone is poking up drastically from the ground. Let's breathe deeply and allow the tailbone to soften back down towards the ground. So maybe you needed to adjust your hand position, right? To dial it back just a little, to allow the pelvis to rest rather than rise. And let your feet come back down to the ground. Bridge pose. We've been working this one, I think, in all of our classes. And you can add the clasp of hands underneath you, the bind, or not, right? That's totally your choice. But you really start to notice the sense of standing back through your shoulders and arm backs. That's where the real foundation establishment of your bridge is. And your feet are their support, but there is strong secondary support here. The power's back through your shoulders and arms. And there's a sense of awakening and arising in your middle, 3 more deep breaths in your bridge pose, please. And after that 3rd breath is taken, bring your bridge back down to the ground and do another happy baby pose, please. Taking the variation of happy baby that allows the pelvis to the tip of the tail to rest on the ground. And remember, babies are rarely still, so allow yourself a little bit of blissful movement. One more deep breath. And then we allow our feet to touch down to ground again for another bridge pose. You know, it may feel good to you to stay here, or maybe you want to try lifting your either leg, right or left, lift it to the sky, put on the ground, change sides. So you're getting a leg extension, all right, a single leg extension inside of the bridge. Right, you're making the bridge just a little more active. One more lift and extend on each leg. And then bridges come back down to the ground and butterfly legs, right? Reclining butterfly. May you focus again on the flow of your breath, the filling of the inhale, the emptying of your exhale. And now, instead of your feet in butterfly position, extend your legs, lie back comfortably, expansively, right? What do I mean? Oh, take up some space. We'll call this a reclining 5-pointed star. So each leg, right, your tips of your toes create points of the star at the bottom. Your hands create points of the star, and the crown of your head creates the 5th point of the star. Stars twinkle. They are alive, right? They're bright. They're bursting with energy, as are we. So as you lie back in your 5-pointed star position, feel that twinkling, flowing life within you. Sometimes we get busy. We get involved in projects that take our body into weird positions, weird postures. But we always have the power to bring ourselves back to a better state. And I really hope that you can feel that sense of equilibrium throughout you, breath and body. as you continue to breathe deeply, being aware of the energy and matter that we are. May we continue to stay healthy, to breathe deeply, and to keep on protecting one another. It's time to awaken, friends. So start to twinkle your fingers and toes. Give a little wiggle through